So, no, I wouldn't say I have a passion for HR.
Welcome back to Human Resources for the People. It's a human capital
The ballot
revolution.
initiative in the state of Massachusetts that could take an aim towards establishing European unions in the United States. And this is a really interesting situation that's going on. So, first, for context, there is in Massachusetts, there's what's called an initiative petition. And it's a process by which citizens can propose new laws or changes to existing laws. It's a form of direct democracy, of course. And so they have to get a petition together with the Massachusetts Attorney General for certification. They make sure that the petition meets legal requirements. Then they do some signature gathering, submit to the Secretary of the Commonwealth. The state legislator takes a look at it, and they have the option to vote on it, or they can just pass it to the ballot. If the majority of voters approve the proposed law during the election, it becomes law. So let's talk about this ballot initiative that is coming through in Massachusetts. And here you can see that it allows for the formation of transportation network driver organizations and multi-company associations. Now that's very important for the purposes of this video, is the multi-company, because we're going to be talking about that. Multi-company associations for the purposes of collective bargaining between transportation network companies, which is their term for Uber, DoorDash, Grubhub, etc., and transportation network drivers, the drivers of those companies, on an industry-wide basis, and to supervise, evaluate, and approve. Ultimately, this will allow the terms and conditions of works for all transportation network drivers in the industry to be covered under collective bargaining agreements, and ultimately, they can decide their pay and decide their union of choice and so forth. And this is very similar to the European model in many ways, or many European models, where the employee is unionized on sort of an industrial basis. For example, fast food workers or just restaurant workers as a whole are just by default represented by a union. In fact, minimum wage throughout many countries in Europe are defined not by the government, but by the trade union that you're a part of. That's how the minimum wage works. And so it's absolutely sort of critical to understand that this ballot initiative appears to be very similar. It's industry wide rather than a specific business. The great majority of unions in the United States are specifically located at a specific site for a specific company, and it has a local of a national union. This is advocating for a company. It's agnostic with respect to the company that it affects. It's all the drivers of transportation network services. So it seems very big. It seems like an interesting take on something that we frankly haven't seen in a long time in the United States. It only applies to transportation network drivers that have 5 or more rides that originated in Massachusetts in the last 6 months. I don't really understand that. I don't want to understand why it's so specific. And, moreover, why specifically, transportation network companies? Why not a bigger approach to something of this nature? And that's always my beef with a lot of these laws, is that they're very specialized and they don't operate off of specific principles or fundamentals, but are, industry specific, or, more appropriately, that they are representative of special interests of various kinds, right? There is a transportation network company group that is opposing this, of course, that's made up of Uber, Grubhub, et cetera, et cetera. But that's what's coming down the pipeline to Massachusetts. What do you think about this? I think that the idea of having a specific approach to unionization for a specific group is, again, a little bit choosy. If it's a good principle, it's a good principle all the way. But more broadly speaking, I think that, again, these people at this time are not considered employees, and that makes this a little more difficult. It almost makes it similar to the model of like the IBEW, kind of, not really, but sort of. But at this time, Massachusetts has decided that they're not employees at all. The National Labor Relations Board, up until I think fairly recently, has also agreed that gig workers are not employees. So this is a difficult position to put the state of Massachusetts in, because it's hard for these people to be considered to be employees when, or to be considered unionized when they're not considered to be employees. Let me know if you're in Massachusetts. Are you going to vote for this? Let me know in the comments down below. Like, share, and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next video. Bye, guys.